In part 1 of this summary, we looked at cash flow cycles, escaping the rat race, the philosophy of rich dad versus poor dad and more. In part 2 we will cover the history of taxes, the secret of the rich, obstacles to wealth, plus much more. Lesson 4. The history of taxes and the power of corporations. My rich dad just played the game smart and he did it through corporations, the biggest secret of the rich. A brief history of taxes. Every time people try to punish the rich don't simply comply, they react. They have the money, power, and intent to change things. They don't just sit there and voluntarily pay more taxes. You may have heard the saying nothing is certain except death and taxes, but for most of human history, taxes were not a certainty at all and look much different from the way people are taxed today. Occasionally, kings, queens, and presidents will collect taxes in an effort to support wars. But there were no permanent taxes levied against people on their income. Even in times of war, the highest tax rate in the Roman Empire was only around 3%. Originally in England and in the USA, there were no taxes. Only in 1874, income tax became permanent in England and 39 years later the US followed suit with the adoption of the 16th Amendment that made income tax permanent. These permanent taxes were passed into law under the guise that they were only to be levied against the rich. This decision would end up backfiring and punishing the people who voted for it, the poor and the middle class. Government bureaucracy versus capitalism. As the government grows, more and more tax dollars are needed to support it. Rich dad saw poor dad as a government bureaucrat and himself as a capitalist. Both are driven by opposite incentive structures. Put yourself in the shoes of a politician or government employee. Your incentive is to spend money and hire people. The larger your department or organization becomes, the more entrenched and respected it becomes. You're incentivized to spend every dollar of the budget you can, because if you don't, you risk losing it in your next budget. If you're a politician running for government, you aren't campaigning on your ability to cut expenses or balance the budget. You are campaigning on all the things that you will build, create or give to your constituents. And at the end of the day, you aren't spending the money from your own bank account, you're spending the population's tax dollars. Now put yourself in the shoes of rich dad, a business owner. Your incentive is to spend less and only hire when needed. And at the end of the day, you may deploy your capital in a more efficient manner because it is your money. My rich dad did not see Robin Hood as a hero. He called Robin Hood a crook. This economic theory of taking from the rich and giving to the poor and middle class only lasted until the government's need for more money to sustain itself led to the taxes needing to be levied on the middle class and the poor. At this point, the rich found a new way to protect their assets. The biggest secret of the rich. The rich found a way to escape and seek the protection of a corporation. For most people when they hear the word corporation, they may imagine something tangible like a large building with hundreds of employees. In reality, a corporation is just a piece of paper that creates a legal body. The rich protect their wealth through corporations, because it gives them tax advantages over the poor and the middle class. The corporate tax rates are lower than personal income rates, and it also protects them from lawsuits. But how? It comes down to the flow of income. Take a close look at the order. An employee earns money, pays taxes, and then spends. A business owner earns money, spends, and then pays taxes. The corporation can do many things that an employee cannot, such as paying expenses before taxes. The business owner's income flows through the corporation and pays him or her salary as an expense. If you pay yourself a small enough salary, you can also avoid the higher tax brackets that higher earning employees need to pay. The pre-tax dollars here are where the rich find ways to minimize their tax burden as much as possible through deductions and other legal loopholes. Lesson 5. The rich invent money. The mind and your financial operating system. Most people's operating system for creating money is get a good job, work hard, and save your way to financial freedom. The rich don't trade their time for an hourly salary. They find ways to build assets. To build your asset base, you need financial intelligence. The single most powerful asset we have is our mind. If it is trained well, it can create enormous wealth. An untrained mind can also create extreme poverty that can crush your family for generations. In today's information age, your greatest asset is your mind. The old ways of making money and getting rich don't work today. Creating financial intelligence is the key to finding and creating profitable business opportunities. To gain financial intelligence, you need to learn the following. Financial literacy. The ability to read and understand financial statements. The financial statement of a business can show you its strengths and weaknesses. Investment strategies. Investing is the science of making money, an understanding of supply and demand, and understanding of the law. Be aware of all state and federal regulations and always play by the rules. Gaining financial intelligence will allow you to see opportunities outside of the get-a-job, work hard and save model of making money. Always be learning to improve these 4 areas. Timing and courage. Often in the real world, it's not the smart who get ahead, but the bold. Financial intelligent people always have more options for creating wealth because they are constantly seeking and inventing new ways to invest or build their assets. You can't be the one sitting on the sidelines waiting for the perfect timing or perfect idea to arrive. You need to take action. Courage alongside a willingness to take calculated risk can make the difference. Lesson 6. Work to learn, don't work.